So the last talk of the day and of this conference is by Raphaël Ponge from Sichuan University. Raphaël will talk about cyclic homology and group actions on manifolds. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks for the introduction. So I also wish to thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity to speak at this conference. So there's a number of people who work on cyclic homology of cross-product algebra or on convolution algebra of group. So in particular, there's a work by Cohn, Fegin, Sigan, Baum-Cohn. So that was in the 80s. Even later by Mr. Gessler-Jones, Bloch-Gessler-Jones, Wasserman, and more recently there's also work by Postuma, Flom, and Tang. So there are also a number of talks in this conference on related to cyclic homology of cross-product or groupoid. So some material I will present have been seen in the previous talks. So a new thing about my result is that it's not necessarily much about actually computing the cyclic homology. It's also to give explicit quasi-isomorphisms. So explicit way to compute in a somewhat geometric fashion cyclic cycles. So this was originally motivated by a work with Han Wang on non-kinetic geometry and conformal geometry. So we exhibited some, so we show that there was this spectral triple introduced by Cohen-Moscovici in conformal geometry. So we show that it wasn't difficult to show that the Cohen-Chern was like a conformal invariant. And we computed the Cohen-Chern character, and then so by pairing with the Cohen-Chern character, we get some conformal invariant. So we need to find geometric cycles that which by pairing with the Cohen-Chern character will give explicit conformal invariant. So that was the first motivation for this work. Okay, so and then this, in sense, I mean, the approach that I use is to try to do things in a most possibly simple way, but ultimately I had to introduce new tools. So I will explain what are these new tools maybe in the second part of the talk. And I think this is maybe when I got invitations, this is maybe what the organizer wanted me to speak, but I would like to show what you can do with this tool before explaining them. Okay, so I will do a brief review of cyclic homology. I think many people in this audience know about this, so I will be brief with this. So there are different ways to define cyclic homology. One way is to use a mixed complex, so as produced by Burgeler and Cassel. So basically, a mixed complex means that this is you have so you have K module. Okay, so here K module. So K will be a ring that contains Q. So of course, for defining mixed complex, we don't need K to contain Q, but for the result, we need K to contain Q. And in case of group action on manifold, K would be C. So a mixed complex basically consists of a family of modules together with two maps. One map of degree -1, so it's like Hochschild or boundary, and another map D of degree 1. So B square and capital B square are 0, and little b and capital B are anti-commute. So right, so of course the mixed complex is already implicit in the work of Cohn. And so an example is the Durham complex, where look at the so the modules have this differential form. Little b is 0 and capital B is a Durham differential. Using mixed complex can define a cyclic complex and a periodic cyclic complex. So this, well, that's a way to define that's way we define. So basically, so cyclic chain of degree m are given by the direct sum of chain of degree m and -2, etc. So you introduce this variable u of formal variable of degree 2. And right, so then you form B plus B U minus 1. U minus 1 is basically the projection from CM natural to CM natural minus 2 that slash the first part. And right, and you can define a periodic cyclic homology. In this case, you take direct product according to parity. And then you have operator B plus capital B. So so periodic, okay, so I want to mention the slide, but the periodic cyclic homology is related to the direct limit of the cyclic homology group using the S operator. Okay. So we'll see that the periodicity, so it's called periodicity operator for some reason. Precisely because I also define periodic cyclic homology. But so it's a, so if you want to compute so in a constant Archie constant Rosenberg theorem, you get an identification of the RAM homology with a periodic cyclic homology of smooth function on a manifold, and yeah, so I'm good. Lost. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So so often, what's most geometric object is a periodic cyclic homology, and there is well, I may argue about whether it's not geometric. Anyway, to compute it's important to compute the periodic cyclic homology. So there's two ways to at least two ways to compute the periodic cyclic homology. I can start with, so if you have a map of mixed complex, then it's enough to prove that you have quasi-isomorphism at the level of Hochschild level to get quasi-isomorphism at the cyclic and periodic cyclic level. So that's why it's nice. So we'll see it works in some cases, particularly in the case of delocalization at conjugate C class of finite order. But at delocalization of conjugate C class of infinite order, you cannot do that. So what you need to do is to compute the cyclic homology. And then you need to get information on the periodicity operator to get periodic cyclic homology. So I would like to emphasize the importance of the periodicity operator, which appeared in the report of Alan Cohn from 1981. Which produce the SBI sequence. Okay, so using an example of mixed complex arise from a cyclic module. So a cyclic module is given by so modules parameterized by integers, non-negative integers, and you get a bunch of maps. So you get three maps: D degree -1, S so degree 1. And T, which has degree 1, which is like T is a cyclic operator, so it means satisfy this. And using D and D, and so using T, D, and S, okay, you can form. This is going to generate to define a simplicial object. Okay, and so using a cyclic, so definition of cyclic module appears in the Kras paper of Cohn in 1983. So any cyclic module gives rise to a mixed complex. So using the B operator, which is like Hochschild operator, and operator capital B of Reinhardt and Cohn, defined as follows using a cyclic operator and the extradegeneracy S. Okay. Right. So, and the cyclic, so any unital algebra gives rise to a cyclic module. So this is known. So the chain are given by tensor powers, a combination of tensor powers of element of A. The operator D is given by this. So this corresponds to multiply. So basically, you move AM to the front, you multiply with A0. Extradegeneracy. So here A is unital, so basically you insert 1 here, so it corresponds to the operator B0 in Alan's talk. And here a cyclic operator, so basically do cyclic commutations. And the periodic cyclic homology, so the cyclic homology of A is a cyclic homology of the the mixed complex associated with the cyclic modules. And the periodic cyclic homology is a periodic cyclic homology of that mixed complex. Okay. And yeah, so if you look, so mixed complex has two differentials. So if you only use the differential of degree-1, what you get is a Hochschild complex array. Right, so setup, start with the following setup. So in fact, I will look at the third part of the talk, I will look at cyclic homology of cross-product algebra, but here I will focus on the case of group actions. So M is a compact manifold, and gamma is any group acting on M by diffeomorphism. So by any group, I mean discrete. So I keep it with a discrete topology, so you can think of gamma as a discrete group. And so we can form the cross-product algebra. So here gamma is discrete, okay? And well, I don't know if I really, it's probably known before Feghi and Segal, and so anyway, so they mentioned in several talks in this conference. So you have a decomposition of the cyclic space of A gamma. So A gamma is a cross-product, a decomposition along the PVC classes. So I make it slightly more precise. So basically, it consists of a tensor product of elements of the form A0, U phi 0 dot AM, U phi M, where phi 0 product of the phi I, okay, belongs to the given conjugacy class. Okay. So that's as mentioned in Stock talks and also in Shigan's talk, and in Marcus' talks as well. So just to recall definition of K group homology, or maybe you've heard about it. So let M be a K gamma module. So the group homology H gamma with coefficient in M is the homology of this chain complex. So we take a differential, a group differential. So a different way to define the group homology. So I will do it in this following way. So you take the tensor product of K gamma M plus 1 with M. So you take product over gamma. So basically you divide by the diagonal action. Okay. And a differential is given by this. So d of phi 0 dot, so d of phi 0 dot phi M. So the alternating sum of this M upon, where at the level of J, you get rid of the J of phi J. Okay. So here, phi J roof is a means omission. When M is equal to K and is actually Z, you get the homology of the classified space B gamma. And you can also define a group homology as a dual version of the group homology. So that's all right. So to state the result, so I'm going to express the cyclic homology of the cross product of C infinity with gamma in terms of equivalent cohomology, or at least some version of it. So let me recall definition of equivalent homology. So it goes back to Borel and Bott. So it's basically the cohomology of the classifying space, but you can define also in a following way. So this is so suppose that gamma acts on M. So it's given by the cohomology of given of this of a quotient complex. So actually you get a bicomplex and it takes the total complex of this bicomplex. So the chains, so you get two differential, d round and d. So this guy is a group boundary and d is a group Durham differential. And the chains are given by, so chain of degree by degree TQ, gamma equivalent map from gamma t plus 1 to omega q n. So this is t plus 1 map from, gamma, a map from gamma t plus 1 to differential form of degree q. and the total space of total quotient of degree m consists of direct sum over Cp gamma omega qm, where p plus q is equal to 12. All right, so you get this. So this is so yeah, this one I mentioned before. So the current homology is a model for the cohomology of the homotopy quotient. Okay. Which is the quotient of I gamma with cos m. So this is I gamma cos m quotiented by the diagonal action of gamma. I gamma is a sole gamma bundle. Okay. And so the invariant cohomology is a natural reciprocal for invariant germ character. So you introduce even odd equivariant cohomology. So basically, we correspond to in sense you periodize. Take the direct sum of Cp gamma omega q, where P and Q ranges over pairs such that P plus Q is even or odd. And you give the same differential on the previous slide, so it's d1 plus minus 1 to d. Okay. And so you have a construction of the equivalent chain character. So basically, okay, so and with so this equivalent chain character, you can give a geometric construction in terms of connection. So if you have any connection lambda E on E. So E is the gamma equivariant. Okay. Then you can form a differential form that's going to represent the equivalent chain character. So this, I think the explicit construction in terms of connection is ubiquitous here, but the construction of the equivariant chain character goes back at least to both. But anyway, I'm a bit. I might miss some names here, so I apologize. Okay, so in fact, okay, so sorry about the flashing slides. So you're going to want to compute the cyclic homology of a cross product of C infinity theorem with gamma. So cyclic homology of C infinity theorem is given in terms of Doram cohomology. And the cyclic homology of gamma is given, so it's the result of Bourgelia that I mentioned before. So it's given in terms of group homology. So we have to find a way to combine Doram cohomology and group homology. Okay. So there's a problem to, well, I don't know if it's not known to take, so we have to, for instance, take tensor product, some product of a quotient complex with a chain complex. So it's not known, but what you can do is you can see both the quotient complex and the chain complex as a mixed complex. And then you can form some kind of product of the mixed complex. So if you do that, you are led to the what I call the equivalent mixed complex, which is one as follows. So you have, so you get a total space of, so you need a Cp gamma omega qm. So Cp gamma omega qm. So let me define it. So yes. So Cp gamma m. So this is k gamma m plus 1 tensor m over action of gamma. So here, so you get definition where n is omega q m, so the differential form of the q. Okay. And total space of the m consists of the sum over pq, so that p plus q is equal to m. And you have two differential. So this is so you get a mixed complex. So you have, it means that you have differential of degree -1 and differential of degree 1 plus 1. So differential of degree plus -1, this is a group differential. Group homology differential, and the differential of degree plus 1, this is the Doram differential. Okay. And you define the, so you have a mixed complex, so you can define a C within is a cyclic complex and a periodic cyclic complex. So you define the mixed equivalent homology to be the cyclic homology of this mixed complex, and define the even odd mixed equivalent homology. will be the periodic cyclic homology of the mixed complex. Okay, so that's the definition. What you can do with that is that to get some natural geometric construction of cycles in the current mixed complex by using a cap product. So you have a natural cap product from so the group homology, and so you take cap product with group cycles, group homology class with a class in the even odd equivalent. Okay, sorry. All right, so we can. Okay, so here this is a group homology. Here this is an even odd equivalent homology, and here this is what I defined in the previous slide, so mixed equivalent homology. So if you take a cap product between group homology and equivalent homology, even odd version, you can land into the mixed equivalent homology. Okay. So in particular, you see that cap product of equivalent classes with group homology classes give rise to classes in the mixed equivalent homology. This way, you get some geometric construction of cyclic classes. Okay, so now I can state the result. So we need to do so. I mentioned before we have a splitting along conjugacy classes. So reduce to compute the cyclic homology so to each of the delocalized components. So you have discussion upon whether class has finite as torsion or non-torsion. So if phi the quantity of a class as conjugacy class has finite order, then you can proceed as follows. So let gamma phi be the centralizer of phi, and m phi be the fixed point manifold. So gamma phi is going to act on the fixed point manifold. Well, it's not exactly a manifold, but you can consider it to be a manifold. It's more like a union of manifolds. Anyway, it's a nice, it can work as if it's a manifold. So you have an explicit quasi-isomorphism from the mixed equivalent homology onto the cyclic homology, and likewise at the periodic level. So you get quasi-isomorphism from the even odd equivalent homology onto the periodic cyclic homology. And in particular, so if you combine with the cap product construction I mentioned in the previous slides, okay, so we get bilinear map from, so here it's even odd group homology of gamma phi, okay. Here this is even odd equivalent homology of m phi relative to gamma phi. And here you have the cyclic homology, periodic cyclic homology of a gamma, so delocalized at the conjugacy class of phi. And in particular, you see in this construction. So here the current characteristic classes lies here. So you take a cap product with element here, you get geometric classes in periodic cyclic homology of the cross product algebra. Okay. So this is what we have in the finite order case. Yeah, a remark about previous work. Yes. So, but okay. So there's sorry for the typo. By using Poincare duality, you can cover a description of cyclic homology by Bulinski-Nistor. So here, two things. So here we actually have explicit quasi-isomorphism, and get also a more geometric description than Bulinski-Nistor. Since Bulinski-Nistor, he used flex the geometric relation of some simplicial space. Again, by using a Poincare duality argument, to cover the description of cyclic homology as the identity component into Kohn. Well, he wrote in his paper on foliation in cyclic homology. And one phi is different from identity, cover description of Bulinski. It was given in terms of equivalent homology. So Alain actually give a description of periodic cohomology, but you get to result by duality. And when gamma phi is finite, you recover the Bohm-Cohn isomorphism for the cyclic and for cyclic homology and the periodic cyclic homology. So actually, well, and Alain actually consider a more general situation, but in case where gamma is finite to get into the setup and we cover this result. Okay, so that's a situation. Sorry, here this is actually the. So here, the finite case, this is expressed in terms of invariant cohomology of the fixed concept. Okay, so when phi has infinite order, okay, you have to. You need to be very special attention to the peristity operator, and the peristity operator will be given relative to the Euler class of the extension associated with phi. So basically, so phi has an infinite order. It means that the subgroup generated by phi is isomorphic to Z. Okay, so it takes consider the normalizer, which is the quotient of the gamma phi by group generated by phi. Okay, so I get this group extension, and this defines a class in the group cohomology of gamma phi bar in Z, so 2 cycles, which is called the Euler class. Okay, so using this, so you pick up some representative of the Euler class U phi. Okay. Right, and so you define a chain complex as follows. So it's again, it takes some. Again, so you have parts come from manifold and other parts come from the groups. So you actually gamma phi bar. Okay. So you get this. So you have a differential that comes from the group differential. So actually, the chains will be so C gamma phi bar P plus 1 gamma tensor product with gamma omega q and phi over gamma phi bar. So again, this is shown by the diagonal action of gamma phi bar. Yeah. And okay, so we take the sum according to the same total degree. And so you have a differential, which is one is the group boundary. Okay. And then you combine the RAM differential with a cap product with co-cycles representing the Euler class. So so here you define a differential, so you should have a degree -1, so you should decrease the degree by 1. So the RAM differential increases the degree by +1, but if you take a cap product by two co-cycles, you're going to decrease the degree by 2 here. So cap product with U phi degree -2, D has degree 1, so combine the two, gets an object that has degree -1. Okay? And if you combine with the group boundary, you actually get another boundary map. Okay? And so you get a chain complex. And in an infinite order case, you're going to express the cyclic in terms of the homology of this chain complex. So suppose that, so you need the extra assumption on the action of phi. So suppose that it acts nicely. So maybe I will be more precise later about what it means. But for now, we assume that it preserves the metric or an affine connection. So this ensures us that M phi has a nice structure. So essentially full. Okay. Or disjoint union of manifold of different dimension. Okay, so we get an explicit quasi-morphism between the homology of the complex that are introduced in the previous slides. So this is at the non-periodic level, and under this quasi-isomorphism, the S operator, so the peristity operator, agree with the cap product. Cap product with the Euler class. So which decreases like when you have so you have a cap product because so you get the cap product essentially is going to act is going to increase the way by -2, okay. And this simplify and fixes. So there are results by Kreinich in the infinite order case, actually for non-Hausdorff et al. Group read. So he got an identification of Schwarzschild homology, and he got the spectral sequence, which I mentioned in the next slide. But it seems that on the way somehow he forgot about the S operator and didn't get the correct result for the cyclic homology. Okay, so you really get that. I guess you recover this result if you use this spectral sequence that he got anyway. So, but was okay. In any case, the approach, my approach is much simpler than Marius' approach. So in general, when you don't have the infinite, when you remove when you don't have the nice action of phi on M, you always have a spectral sequence. So this is an avatar. I mean, this is an incarnation of the Tegin-Segan sequence for compute the cyclic homology of cross-product algebra. Actually, Tegin-Segan, they got the result even for algebra over any ring. So we don't assume that the ring is contains a Q. And okay, and Kreinich also got the spectral sequence. Here you got the spectral. So Tegin-Segan, they got their spectral sequence as so it was some special case of a Grothendieck spectral sequence. Here, spectral sequence is just it comes from a filtration of the complex defined of some complex. Okay. So it's really a simple spectral sequence. It comes from a filtration. And furthermore, can be shown that the cyclic homology is a product over the group homology. And the S operator is given by the action of the Euler class. Okay, so so cyclic homology is a module over the group homology, which is from a ring in cap product. Okay, and so the Euler class lies in the group homology, and so the action by this Euler class corresponds to the S operator. So this result is due to Lister, so it's covered by Kreinich and also cover it. And the consequence of that, so it's related to previous talks, is that the periodic in the infinite order case, the periodic cyclic homology localized at the infinite order in the C class vanishes whenever if Euler class is nilpotent. So nilpotency of the Euler class is related to the Bass conjecture. I think there's work by Emmanuel on this. And in particular, this happens when gamma is hyperbolic or arithmetic. So when gamma is hyperbolic or arithmetic, you don't see the periodic cyclic homology at infinite order. Infinite order conjugate sequence. All right, so that's result on about the cyclic homology associated with group action on manifold. There, so in sense, so we'll see later. So what we can produce is a general way to get to compute cyclic homology of cross-product algebra, provided you can compute some twisted version of the cyclic complex of the algebra. So here we produce some. We just have to get. Sorry about flashing the slides. Yeah. So we get this product cross product. So in general, the result is based on two things. So you have a general result that allows us to compute to use the cyclic homology and periodic cyclic homology from the computation of the twisted version of the cyclic homology or periodic cyclic homology of the algebra. Okay. So in case of group action on manifold, what the next ingredient that you need is a twisted version of the constant Hochschild Rosenberg theorem, which was in case of smooth manifold was obtained by Delinsky and Lister, and there are also alternative proof by Postma, Flom, and Tanks, as mentioned in Marcus' talk. We also have an algebraic version of the twisted. Sorry, I'm refreshing the slides again. Yeah, sorry, going fast. We also have an algebraic version of the twisted. So an algebraic version of the constant Hochschild. Constant Hochschild. Sorry, constant Hochschild, constant Rosenberg theorem, which was obtained by Lister, so I've mentioned Brodsky, Davey, and Lister, where we look actually we look at cross product algebra of coherent ring of a smooth variety by the action of finite group. Actually, in their setup, the result they use use some singular variety. So we have some kind of cross-product version of Fegin-Segan theorem that was reproved in Joachim talks. So the result I mentioned works when you take when as algebra, you take the algebra of coherent ring of a smooth variety and use the twisted version of the CHKR theorem for a smooth variety of Brodsky, Davey, and Lister. But Brodsky, Davey, and Lister only consider a finite group. So here get result for also infinite group. All right. So okay. So you need some to prove to obtain the results. I use some new machinery. Some machinery was already known, so it's notion of paracyclic object. So this appears in a paper of Fegin-Segan when LNM. So I think he was published in 1987, but he was from a seminar in preprint was from 1982 or 1983. And G+J is actually a shorthand for Gessler-Jones. So, and Gessler-Jones reintroduced them in one of their papers. So a notion of cyclic modules, where you have this, so it's given by family of sequence of modules, and operator D of degree -1, which is going to give the degeneracy, and extra degeneracy S, which is going to give the degeneracy of the underlying simplicial structure, and you have a cyclic operator. So the paracyclic object is obtained where you relax the cyclic condition into, so T is always equal to yes, okay, so you can show this. And instead of requiring T to be cyclic, you require it to be invertible. Okay. You may also require that some. So this notion of paracyclic object, so you have a paracyclic modules. You can also define bi-paracyclic modules, so with vertical operator and horizontal operator. And you have a notion of cylindrical module where you require furthermore to, so it's a special case of bi-paracyclic module where you get this condition. Okay, so now as I mentioned before, still with cyclic module, you have a mixed complex. So a mixed complex is introduced by, formally introduced by Bouvier and Cassel. Can define a parachain. So the analog of the mixed complex for paracyclic modules. So that was introduced by Gessler-Jones. So require to introduce operator capital T, which is 1 minus little b capital B plus capital B B. And instead of requiring, so for mixed complex, T here will be equal to 1, okay? And here is required to be invertible. So you can also define a parachain by complex, and can define also a cylindrical complex. Okay, by requiring, so the corresponding analog of this condition is that T bar T is equal to 1. So T is defined by these terms. T bar is defined in this way by using the operator little b bar and capital B bar. And the observation of Gessler-Jones is that using if you have a cylindrical complex, you still can define a cyclic, some form of cyclic complex by using a total. So you can define a cylindrical complex. You can define a mixed complex, okay, and that's why you can define cyclic homology and periodic cyclic homology. Okay, so this machinery, it works when you want to look at the finite order conjugacy classes, so the torsion case. Now, observation that if you want to go for infinite order classes, you have to go beyond mixed complex, and a relevant notion is notion of S module that was introduced by Jones and Castle. So, in particular, it plays a role in the work of Kunz-Cullen in construction of the bivariant condition character. So, what's S module? Consists of a family of modules, an operator, a differential of degree -1, okay, plus a periodicity operator, like the operator of degree -2 that is going to commute with it. And then you can try to think of having some para version of S modules. And relevant notion is as follows: is that you consider, so you have to introduce an extra operator capital T, which comes from here. So it's a C, so complex, the chains, module of chains, an operator D of degree -1, S, an operator of degree -2, so into T is an operator of degree 0, sorry. I think it should be invertible, I'm not sure. And satisfy following condition is that D square is equal to S1 minus T, and S and D commute. Okay. So that would be a notion. And in fact, all the results about mixed complex cyclic module can be extended in the para S setting. The only thing is that since D square is not 0, you don't have a notion of quasi-isomorphism. But what you have as because you don't have a notion of complex map, you have a notion of complex map, but you don't have homology, so you don't have a notion of quasi-isomorphism. But what you do have is a notion of homotopy equivalence and deformation retard. So many of the results, for instance, about cyclic modules or mixed complex that involve homotopy equivalence have analog for in the para setting. Okay. All right. So in particular, there is a result of Castle which shows that if you have cyclic modules, you can define a free cyclic complex. So one is one I define using operator little b and capital B. You can also take the quotient of the Hochschild complex by the action of by the range of the cyclic operator. So this is C lambda, so the Connes complex. And you have a bigger complex using that's one used by Kohn, and it's used to define the cyclic homology in the non-unitary case. So you use operator B minus B prime, 1 minus tau and n. And basically, you have deformation retract between these complexes. So it was shown by Cassel, and you have analogous result for paracyclic modules. Okay. And this is useful. This is used for in the case. Okay. And so you have para-S module, and you can also introduce notion of triangular para-S modules, where on the vertical side you have some para-S modules, and on the vertical side you have some para-chain complex. This one I mean. And then you have the cylindrical version, which will give rise to some, which is going to give rise to some. So I think give rise to a mixed complex, yes. So you need these extra conditions, and these extra conditions, so d bar square plus s bar sb plus capital B b, show that basically this allows us to define a mixed complex and define a cyclic complex. Okay, so basic, sorry, it's not cyclic. So can you find, yeah, okay, no. Yeah, so you can, so you find a mixed complex. So one differential will be defined by d bar, and then you can build differential using B, the capital B, and S bar. So this is an instance of this is given precisely by the chain complex, quotient complex defined in. Okay, so right, so sorry, I'm a bit cryptic here, but okay, and how? So as mentioned, you want to construct. So you don't have a chain at this level. At least a para. If you just take a para-S module, you don't have. It's not a chain complex, but you can. But it can make sense of chain homotopy equivalence. So we need the general tools to construct the chain homotopy equivalence. Okay, and in fact, this is a perturbation. You have perturbation lemma for a parachain complex. I think I have to work. So basically, well, we have a lot of signs here. So start with two parachains complex, C and C bar. Okay. And assume that you have deformation retract at the B level. Okay? And what you can do is to construct, replace, you can find another degree 1 differential on C bar, okay, in such way that the deformation retract at the Hochschild level lift to the deformation at the cyclic level. So again, it's not complex. It's not exactly a cyclic complex. These are parachain complex. And this, in such way, that's so important here, is compatible with the S operator. And in fact, when alpha here is compatible with the operator B, so for instance, it's a mixed complex map or parachain complex map, then the B bar here is actually equal to B. And alpha bar is just alpha. So alpha natural is alpha. Okay, so we can. So this is a technical homological lemma that you can use. And in fact, using this, for instance, you can prove by paracyclic version of the Allenberg-Sieberg theorem. So there was earlier version by Gesser-Jones, Oval, and Havrali. Okay, so you have a shuffle map and the Alexander-Whitney map. Okay, at the Hochschild level, and we lift to paracyclic shuffle and paracyclic Alexander-Whitney map, so as to get actually a chain homotopy equivalence. All right. So in particular, this allows. So using this, so that's important here because using this paracyclic Alexander-Whitney map, you can define cup and cap product for paracyclic level. That are compatible with cup and cap product at the simplicial level. Okay, so all right, so okay. Okay, so if gamma is a central element, so I will explain how we can look at cyclic homology of cross-product algebra. So we start with gamma, which is a central element, and define, so you twist the homology, the cyclic homology complex of gamma. Again, K is a ring that contains Q. So basically, you have the group. So D, you get D S phi T phi. So this is a paracyclic modules. D, so this is a group differential, which defined before. So basically, it comes from the group differential. So basically, slash is get rid of the last component. S phi, basically, so that's here you have a twisting. So you multiply, so basically, it's given by this. So you get phi 0 dot phi m, and then you add phi m. So this we do in the non-specific case, but here you multiply by phi. Even the cyclic operator, so here I just should have done the cyclic operator. T phi. So you get cyclic permutation, but for phi m, you multiply by phi inverse. Okay. And here you have a twisted cyclic module of the algebra A. Well, this construction is known before. Okay. So this is so you get the chains are the same as in the non-twisted case. So extra degeneracy is the same. Okay, so you just so here A is neutral. Okay, so you insert one and you twist the D as follows. So instead of multiplying, so basically you multiply AM, you multiply A0 by AM. So that's what we do in the non-twisted case, but in twisted case, we multiply by phi inverse. Okay, action of phi inverse. And so this way you get a twisted cyclic operator, where basically you do cyclic permutation, but here you insert phi inverse. Okay, so you get these two twisted cyclic modules. Okay, and so we get results goes back. Well, so the version of it by Gessler-Jones. I think the extra thing I got is that you actually have a quasi-automorphism. S compatible with. Well, maybe you get something a bit chain homotopy. Why not? So, all right. So you get this cyclic homology of a cross product. So the cyclic complex of the cross product algebra, gamma, the localized at phi. So you have a map from the diagonal. So C phi, gamma phi A, this is a product of the, sorry. By taking a product of C phi gamma and C phi A, you get by paracyclic modules. So you can take its diagonal, so it will be a paracyclic complex. Okay. You have a natural map from this diagonal to here. So this goes back to Gessler-Jones, probably known before. Okay. And then by paracyclic inverse theorem, you get quasi-isomorphism with total complex. Okay, okay. And so basically, what we are left with computing this guy. And since is some kind of tensor product of the, so the way it's defined is really as a tensor product of the twisted complex of gamma phi with twisted complex of it. And so basically computation reduces to compute each guy. Okay. But of course, each guy at the total level, here you do get the cyclic complex or some mixed complex. But if you take them individually, each component individually, they are not mixed complex. They are not cyclic modules. They are paracyclic modules. So here you have to work with chain homotopy equivalence. And you can show, so the result goes back, well, that's due to Bruggelia. So Bruggelia gave some geometric proof. Marcinac gave algebraic proof. And extra thing I got is to work out some explicit equivalence, which are not terribly difficult to get. Okay, so yeah, all right. So you get C5. So basically, when phi has finite order, basically you can so C phi gamma phi. So the Paras-Chain complex. So you have operator D, and you have you also have operator capital B. Well, basically you can forget about the cyclic operator. Okay. So this is a C flat, where basically this is just C, so group quotients with the group differential and the 0. And so if finite order, then if you combine two results, well, phi finite order. So suppose that a twisted complex of A emits a deformation retract onto some C. So you have deformation retract at the Hochschild level to a Paras-Chain complex. Then you can get an explicit chain homotopy equivalence between the total complex of C gamma, gamma phi, A natural, and the total complex of C flat gamma phi. So the basically group cyclic two-seed cyclic group. We forget about the cyclic operator capital B, which let tensor products with C5. Okay. And C5, this is a phi invariant subcomplex of C. So basically, when you combine, so in the case where A is algebra of smooth function on a manifold, and you apply the constant CHK, two-seed CHKR theorem, then you get the result that I mentioned before. And you get also quasi-isomorphism at the so you get a quasi-isomorphism by combining with a map. Because you have a quasi-isomorphism, you see the total complex here, cyclic module of the total mixed complex with the cyclic complex of E gamma delocalized at phi. Yeah, so to see CH, so just mentioned by Marcus. So yeah, so basically, so if you have a clean action of gamma on M, means that M phi is well, you have some conditions. Its action is clean. So particular this condition will satisfy when phi preserves the affine condition, and particular is going to be satisfied when phi is infinite order. So basically, the twisted at the Hochschild level, you have the twisted Hochschild complex is quasi-isomorphic to the Doran complex of the fixed point set. Sorry, Doran, yeah, not Doran complex, to the differential form of the fixed point set is given by this. Okay. And yes, so when A is infinite theorem, what you cover is a mixed equivalent complex. So from previous result, from this result and sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So from this result and the twisted CHKR theorem, you cover the results equivalence between quasi-isomorphism between the group cyclic homology of the group of the cross product of smooth functional manifold with gamma and the mixed equivalent homology. Okay, so we can also extend this to the infinite order case. So when gamma is infinite, if you let, so we consider a deformation retract of C phi B, where C is at the Hochschild level, where C is the Paras-Chain complex. Then you need to get an implicit chain homotopy equivalence, where so from the total from the cyclic complex of this total mixed complex to to a complex that is associated with some triangular S modules. So triangular chains are given by this. Okay, so you have two differential. Differential with so you have four differential. Yes, so the differential. So one vertical differential will be -1, one horizontal differential will be 1, -1, which is B, operator capital B, we found, and the pericity operator you find, which is given by the cap product with the other class. And this way you get quasi-isomorphism between this guy, this Gaussian complex, and the cyclic complex of A gamma. And yes, so yeah, so in particular, when you apply combine, sorry, so in particular when you combine with the CHKR theorem, you recover the result I mentioned in case of smooth action and manifolds. And these are the references. So I stop here. Sorry for the going over.
Thank you, Raphael. Thanks.